Good morning, those joining. My name is Skye. I'm a raw vegan. I saved my life with food. I was sick for 32 years. I was in bed for about 25 years. I've had over 60 surgeries and 7 major organs removed. I do these talks. It's Friday in Australia. I usually do these talks on a Friday or Thursday, depending where you are. I'm often online talking because I think it's so important when you save your life in some way. If you have a calling to share because it may help somebody else. And today I wanted to talk on addiction, and I am an expert on addiction. When I say expert, I mean I was on ADHD medication. I became an alcoholic in the end, but I was on pain medication for about 10 years. I mean, when I say pain medication, I mean like I'd wake up 500 milligrams of OxyContin. My breakthrough was 60 milligrams of OxyContin. I was on endone. I was on a fentanyl patch of 170, which had to be changed so often because I needed more. I'd be put in hospital on ketamine, pethidine, morphine, had injections of Botox in my spine and local anesthetic in my spine. I was also on SSRIs, and I know they're apparently non-addictive, but I can get into that. I think they're actually one of the hardest drugs in the world, and I've actually seen psychiatrists talk on, psychologists and trauma experts talk on the actual effects that SSRIs coming off and on them have had on people, including myself. But I am raw and what you would call clean, I guess. And I thought a really good place to start with addiction is, hey guys, is what I have experienced recently. So before we get into this, when I found raw foods, I had been very sick most of my life. Go to my channel, have a look at what happened to me. But in 2017-18, at the end of that 2017 year, I dissociated. So I truly never had any psychiatric diagnosis. Even my parents will say, oh, no matter how sick I was never depressed. I did have ADHD. But a lot of people, have that and they're medicated and you kind of go on with life. I'm in a full-blown dissociation where each day I'm in psychiatric units for years, different diagnoses all the time. I was even diagnosed with complex PTSD where I had what they call shell shock syndrome, where it's very, very rare. And my psychiatrist and psychologist had never seen it in Australia. I had flopped over from the waist and couldn't move up some days. Sometimes I'd freeze for weeks. I couldn't walk and talk. Now, they diagnosed this with an idiopathic neurological disorder, which is functional neurological disorder. Idiopathic basically means they don't know the origin. There's no hard, firm evidence. There's no tumors or disruptions to the nervous system. So they don't know why you're displaying like you have a stroke. But while all this went on, I'm having severe trauma issues, and trauma and addiction are partners. So you won't know a person who hasn't dealt with addiction, who hasn't had the most traumatic experience. And a lot of it is a person's interpretation or view of the trauma. And, internalizing it. And a lot of people you find end up on addictions have internalized their addiction. Internalize their trauma instead of outwardly seeking and sharing their vulnerability. Like I do now, they internalize it and think, I'll be strong, I'll be tough. But you watch things start to creep in, which numb, suppress, hide. And they creep in slowly. And I don't think it's anybody's fault. I'm a big believer in the journey. And look, all of this, the reason I can talk on this is because I studied psychology for 5 years. I wanted to be a psychologist, and I think knowing before I can access some of that information I studied back in my 20s, most up until 23, 24. So my late teens and 23, 24, I was studying a lot of psychology. And then I would always study it. I loved reading about the medical industry. I loved finding top experts. How do I heal this disease I've got? I had congenital disease. I had chronic pain symptoms. I had all sorts of disruptive issues in my gut. I had POTS. I had lost my stomach. I loved reading this stuff. When I dissociated from that point, I had no access to knowledge or information. And I've started to notice in my lives, and I'm very grateful I get to share and do these, because I started to notice that I will be talking and massive chunks of information will just come out. Like I'll start describing where things are taking place in the human body, how they interact. you know, a lot of like physiology and anatomy just coming out. And this is my memory returning. It's really hard to explain that I had lost my memory to people because you don't know you've lost it. And I think a lot of people who are very sick have lost massive parts. I think people are more aware of mine because mine ended up with like this FND and psychiatric issues. But when it comes to addiction, I had all these addictions, as I said. I smoked, I drank, I vaped, I was on pain medication, I ended up an alcoholic, I was on ADHD medication. I was seeking drugs most of my life, but I was also in pain. Now, when I was on all those opioids, my neurogynecologist and a lot of my surgeons said, but the one that I was with a lot always said to my mum, she will not end up addicted to painkillers because she seeks them in extreme pain. So I would be like screaming and grab them. Okay. But what has always been with me and what is always with people is when you want to control something, smoking or coffee, I can't really control the painkillers. Usually I only took them in pain. And as soon as the pain went, I stopped. I've never kind of gone back to them. But this whole circle of addiction has come full circle this year as my memories return. So I notice when people go raw, I hear these stories of, I started to go raw and all these emotions came up, or there's people who are drug addicts and for years, 3 years, 4 years, they're like crying all the time, processing. I haven't cried. I can count the times I've cried in the past 7 years since I dissociated, a handful of times. The only time I can remember is when I became homeless. I'd been an alcoholic and my parents said I couldn't go to their place. I remember crying then. Besides that, even family, friends die, nothing. I couldn't feel anything for years. And I don't believe that was the drugs as much as that is dissociation. But this year, I break my toe. I'm back at my parents' house while my bathroom gets done. I'm back on the opioids only for a little short period of time. Back in my parents' house, I seeked out coffee. I had to stop exercising. So I think exercising helps me with dopamine. But even before this, I had seeked out putting my hormone replacement back on. And when I put something back on me from my past, not only does the good things, which was balanced hormones, came back, but memories come back. And I started to feel emotions and I haven't felt them in years. But instead of feeling the emotions, this is why I want to talk about addiction, is I would start seeking out coffee. Or even today these aren't bad things. I'm having a matcha, which I don't think is bad at all, but I want to talk on this. I would start thinking about not so much painkillers, my ADHD medication. I also was very aware, and I say this to mum often, is I believe a lot of the pain that I get now and these histamine issues that I had were blockers. Like my body could not remember things. And instead of having a memory, it would feel physical pain because it was safer. It was not going to let me remember. I had to be very stable, like I am more stable now, to start having actual memory. So that really says to me how memories are so powerful. A human body would rather give somebody neurological and nerve pain across their face, in my case, or it would start thinking of SSRIs or ADHD medication, or I want to go to the shops and have a drink, or I'd love a cigarette right now, instead of actually giving me the memory. That's how impactful I believe memories are to humans. Now, mine is like a very loud, extreme case, but this applies to everybody. And it's hard. It's been hard for me. And the reason I want to talk on matcha and coffee is coffee actually makes me physically sick to the point where I'm trying to get to a place of remembering who I am. And I've said, as I put my hormone replacement back on, that I'd start remembering who I was. And I think I need to make limits for myself. Now, who I used to be and who I want to connect to was always stimulated. I was always on coffee and I always had hormones. I also smoked most of the time I was in pain. They're things that I think as I come back, my body starts to go to. Now, people who are trying to heal, who probably haven't had a dissociation, are probably struggling a lot more than I did at the past. I think my brain had a really great way of just letting go of things because it just would dissociate instead of keeping it. It's just like, okay, if you're going to have a memory, I'm just going to give you physical pain, or you're going to get so inflamed you have histamine issues. And there's like this fine. So I basically, let's get back to I'm seeking out. I'm not seeking. I haven't seeked out. I was thinking like, oh, I just want to drink. I'd be at the table with my family, and for the first time in 4 years, I've gone out with them for Mother's Day, Father's Days, whatever. This has never happened. I'm like, all I want to do is have a drink. And I don't believe it means I haven't detoxed or I'm a bad person. I literally think these memories want to come up. And the more you can be, this is all about being self-aware. Don't worry about what other people are doing. What are your blockers is what I'm putting out there. What are those things that do you start seeking out things, and maybe in 2 years time or a year's time, you'll realize that there was memories trying to come up. It's not that you did something wrong. It's your body doing self-preservation, doing its job. So I think that is just something really important for people to think about. And the reason I'm saying it now, so I once again said I watch people cry all the time, and I speak to friends and they've had a bit of a cry. No, never. And this wasn't the case when I was in a lot of pain. And yes, I suffered a lot. And so when I cried, it was like at a huge point. But how much has my body suppressed itself to get to that point? And to be a healthy woman, I want to have my emotions turned back on. Anyway, I could feel it getting really, really strong. And I kept saying to Mum, my brain keeps wanting these things from the past, but I am doing much better health-wise, with these hormones in. And I think my body's trying to find itself. Like I'm trying to assimilate all these skies. I've spoken about this before because these memories started coming back a year ago, where I would start saying, I used to refer to myself as different skies. My brain had no linear growing up Skye. It was like put in boxes where I could jump to talk about one, but they were completely different from another one. Like there was the one where I had psychiatric issues. There was the one where I had all those surgeries for pain. There was the one that had the stomach and digestive issues, in her teens. And then there's the one who got well for a year. I referred to them and I knew exactly where they were. Now they're all coming into alignment. But how does the human brain process that? Now, last night, I could feel it coming up. So I felt so overwhelmed that my brain literally went crazy for a moment. Now, this isn't like histamine crazy, which I've spoken about before, which literally feels like everything's buzzing and you're almost driven in crazy. This was literally like, I want this. I need this. What am I going to do? Grasping onto things that all of a sudden, all these emotions, it came out perfect timing for this talk today. All these emotions came out and I just hysterically cried. The first thought that came to me when I started crying, which made me cry, was how I was tortured in a psychiatric unit. Literally, like, why did that happen to me? Now, this seems very victimhood because I don't sit in victimhood, but that was the first thing. And then it linked to different versions of myself, like that I'd gone through. And to me, and I always call Mum afterwards because she's watched what I've been through. And she's like, your body is trying to process it. And I'm aware of that. I just like to, usually I don't talk about it because I don't face it. I don't admit it. But the thing about crying is afterwards, I just laid there and felt so good. So you have to understand, if you don't cry, it's like a full-blown drug. I was like, oh my God, I feel so good. Like I felt not numbed, but like comforted. And I then slept actually really, really well. But also after I finished crying, I could talk better about the whole situation. Like some big burst had come through and I got some more of myself back. So I'm not scared. I'm not ashamed. I'm happy. And a lot of what I notice is at the moment, and I'm talking about the matcha, is I find since a couple of things. Having matcha, not so much cacao, I have them randomly. I find that's a bit histamine and a bit crazy. But having a little bit of caffeine each day is activating some part of my brain which has been pushed to the side, which I can't activate, which essentially is plant medicine. I don't know why we're saying that we can stimulate the adrenals with herbs and we can't stimulate them with a low level of caffeine from a whole plant. We're not talking about pulling out the caffeine. We're talking about a whole plant. So not actually, well, I actually think it's helping me in a couple of ways. Is it helps with having estrogen hormone replacement in. I start to stimulate different parts of the body, but I'm also requiring more sodium. And I'm finding having a low level of like matcha, like I can't have more than 2 a day, usually like 1 in the morning. And then I just go through my day. And I notice that I excrete water. better. I'm not holding as much fluid, but it's also slowly helping me feel safe to go to a place where you have to remember when I went raw, I was vaping, drinking, dissociated. I'd been homeless. I was having whole foods, but then I'd have like junk food, like vegan food, medications, like, so to feel safe, it's like finding, and I've spoken about this, is I'm not, and I called myself raw Skye, RROAR, even when I did this 2 months into being raw, because I never think it's all about the food, and I will change over time. I just want to raw through life. And I really want to find a blend of me. And I believe that the fruits and the juices were such a safe place to get up and heal. But I feel like the universe is like, Skye, you've got to come down to process this. You can't process it up there. You're now getting sick from juicing because you're now using this as a new drug to run away. You can't keep going to grapes and to juice and think that this is going to fix things. And that's what I was doing before. At the start, it was very plateaued. I'm not using that like, oh my God, I feel sick, I need this. It was very much more smooth. But then I'm getting into basically self-destructive patterns. And I feel I found a much safer place for me right now. And I've spoken to people who have come back down onto they can't process some fats, and they can't process a lot of sugar. So they've had to go to like cooked vegetables. And they're like, I thought I was going to be fruitarian. And I think you have to remember the soul has a reason for coming here. And if you need to come back down, and like someone like Dr. Morse, he's not always on fruit. He knows the value he holds when he's in a denser space. And the denser the foods I eat, the stronger I am. I'm literally assimilating less water, less electricity, and more minerals. I literally feel dense. And not in a bad way. It's all raw foods. You can include matcha and some warm water as warm, which is no different to people popping herbs, like tablets of herbs, which have been processed, in my opinion. So I do these talks not to tell you need hormone replacement and you need matcha, but every time I have healed myself, I swear none of it came from study. It all came from my life experience. When I healed myself, and I talk about this, and I don't know whether people actually grasp that, I believe if you get on a healing journey, is you already have all the tools. Your soul has already been faced with all the tools. And they come up in different ways. So here, when I healed myself, I was literally at rock bottom, and my brain went, your dad, like I couldn't remember any of the information from books. I had to use life experiences. And I talk about how I remember being a child and jumping around in waves in the ocean and feeling amazing. Like it couldn't top being around friends or being around, getting an ice cream. Like I would just wanted to be in the waves of water. The other thing that would come up would be, my dad is always healthy. What did he do? He got up every day, exercised, and then he'd make himself a juice, and then he would make himself a raw muesli, like rolled oats, nuts, and a soy milk. His lunch would be 2 salad sandwiches and then like meat and vegetables for dinner. And I'm like, okay, he's eating really simple and exercising. And a lot of what he has, like if dad needed a snack, he'd go for a banana or an apple. Mind you, on the weekends is a different story, and he's definitely not perfect, but it's all the tools I use to guide me were not from books. And this has happened again, is now that I'm doing this different level of healing, I have to assimilate things that helped me know I was me, that feel safe, that feel healthy, like having a little bit of, at the moment, caffeine, the hormone replacement. What else have I done? Oh, I actually, because I wear a bit of makeup now, that helps remind me who I am. And I started wearing fake tan, and I said that helped me because I used to wear it. It was always so white. That helped me remember who I am. But these are things that I have to do on my journey to find me. So I just want you guys to know you have to own things that have helped you along the way, and they may change. I'm always changing. Like, summer may come and I might sit on a beach eating fruit, remembering that was a period of my life which helped me get to some sort of level of myself. But don't ever think that if you're not sitting on a beach eating fruit or not perfectly raw, that you're doing something wrong. Your body is more than likely trying to assimilate or remember or do something for you. The more you can see the good in things, the more life feels good. So as for addictions, I'm basically placing them in a box of they're going to continue to come up to block me from remembering trauma. And that, to me, as long as I can remember that when these come up, I feel like I'm in a much safer space. I'm not someone who, when these come up, believe that I went to study psychology, that going to a psychologist and a psychiatrist and sitting there and talking about my problems, and this is me personally, for an hour every week. I did that for years and I ended up in a psychiatric unit. It was almost like cementing my problems. Now, this is very different if you're having, and even psychiatrists say this, if you're having an acute break, let's say you've been in a fire and you've got this trauma around the fire, is psychiatrists and hypnotherapists and psychologists are great for processing when you know what it is you need to process. But if you continue for the next 12 years to sit 1 hour, 2 hours a week, probably 1 hour a week, the same time in an office, not only will you pre-prepare what all the crap you're going to dump before you get there, you'll be thinking about it because you're paying for it and you're going there and you've got to prepare. And then afterwards, you're going to think about it. That, to me, broke me. What does help me is connecting to myself, and I do that through nature, exercise, clean food, like the raw foods, getting away from all of this. They're my safe spaces. And then I start to feel like, I start to see everything in a different light. Instead of it being all these problems that I had, like, it's the reason I get up each day. It's the reason I do these talks. It's the reason I have knowledge. My soul wanted to go through these. So it's like reframing. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about on my part. So I've seen some things come up. So I'd love it to. I've had people ask me about having a tour of my kitchen, and I will do it. It's a little messy right now. I was actually going to film it properly because my dehydrator's there, and I will film that video and put it up. So Tessa said, let's see. Even after 3 years of being raw vegan, addiction is something I continue to struggle with. I really believe that I would continue to struggle with it if I continue to treat it with what a lot of people call detox, where it's not, where I was in a stage where I was thinking that I could fix everything with juices, where I was just literally getting not more addiction problems, like really physically sick, like a lot of swelling, a lot of crepey skin. My histamine issues were getting worse. My hormone replacement wasn't tolerable. And finding this balance for me, and I talk about this a lot, the recipes are treating my addiction every day. I knew I wouldn't stay raw unless I loved every meal I ate. And that's why I put time aside, and I film it most days now. I put so much effort in, because if I eat that meal and feel stimulated, amazing, that's already part of the addiction problem shifted. It's not gone, it's shifted, because a lot of our days were coped by having a yummy meal. Like, I can get through my day of work because tonight I'm having Thai food, or I can get through today because I'm having Mexican and tequila. So I had to shift it. And that's what I've done here. Like, as I said, is coffee is a huge part of my life, and I don't want to bring it back, but I'm happy to have a matcha now and then. I really don't think green tea is a problem. So it's like, I feel like when you enter this realm, and I always call it a realm because it's such a high vibrational realm, is there's little keys or little trinkets that are best to replace. I could not be on this by stripping. I'm like, and people call it in abundance, but I call it balance. As soon as I get out of balance, I get symptoms, I get problems, I start questioning myself. So it's good. And I always say it's good to own where you're at. So, if you're someone who still needs a bit of cooked food, like, you're amazing if you're having like fruits and salads and then some steamed veggies. But is the reason you need steamed veggies for a little bit of stimulation, which I seem to find from doing like a bit of gourmet raw food. So it's just about, and only you know. So that's like, but I also just think addiction is when we don't feel safe to actually face things yet. The brain will literally go to whatever it can, because when it comes on, it's like reliving the event, and your body has just probably had enough. It's probably half the reason all of us are so sick, or were so sick. Like, just to think that it'd rather give me physical pain than it would remember things. I think that's really strong. Have you gone off raw for extended periods? And if so, do you fast or do a reset to get back on raw? I've never technically gone off raw. I don't, everyone's different versions of raw. So I think of raw foods. This is how I've had to conceptualize raw foods to be a long-term raw vegan, is anything in its rawest form that hasn't been cooked. So I include like topping things with spices or nuts and seeds, which have obviously been, you know, they're put in bags. So they're heat treated before they're put in bags. I did do what I call more frugivore, more fruitarian for 2 years. But I've never gone back to, I've never had potatoes or anything cooked from an oven or anything. And I actually attribute me not going back to me not pushing myself with fasting. I notice anyone who's done, all these people like, I'm going to fix my problems with watermelon. I'm going to fix my problems by just mono fruit mealing. That's optimal because I feel amazing. And then I watch those people fling all the way back. I've literally step by step, a little step back, maybe a little bit more, step, like it's been progressive. Like I will go into different densities of raw food, and that helps me. And I really honor where I'm at. Like if I've never really craved cooked food. I noticed whenever I did grapes for 3 weeks and then I came off that, all I wanted was pizza and I hadn't had any cravings the whole time. I was having more balanced raw foods. And after juicing, I had a lot of cravings. And if you look at the foods, I started making like breads and like really dense. I was like literally clinging to it. But I felt I couldn't get up when I had cooked food. I also notice if I have too much dehydrated food, I get a bit of a cooked food feeling, and that's terrible for me. I just don't like it. So I do everything and anything to stay raw. Now, I got it myself. This is kind of where this addiction thing happens, is I got myself into this process of every time a symptom came up, I'm going to juice for 3 or 4 days, or I'm now only going to have grapes. And that didn't serve me. And I think I was not ready to face the fact that I had to go a little bit denser. I don't know if it's that much dense, but with like hormone replacement and, you know, wearing some makeup and stuff to remember who I was. Also, I notice, here's the thing, I have a lot of omega-3s now. Like I predominantly will base my meal around flax and chia. That has really lowered inflammation generally. It doesn't mean I won't have some, I've got some donuts here that we're going to ice. It doesn't mean I won't put some cashews in the icing, but every time I go to make a meal now, the focus is never any other nut or seed. If I want like pumpkin seeds, I will still base the meal around making the dressing with chia, or I call them like crumbed veggies. I'll roll them in some, what is it called? I'm having a mental block. What is it called where you break up the nuts and seeds, you grind them, and I make like a crumbing on the vegetables, and then I'll just put a couple pumpkin seeds. Like my meals, the difference in I don't know if you can see my stomach, like when I was on fruit, I think it's just an age thing. We do need a lot of amino acids and fats for health. I literally feel like I was saying yesterday, if I don't have some avocado every few days, I don't think I can get everything from nuts and seeds. Not a few days, about a week, is I just age. Let me see if I can get this up and just show you. And I will tell you what I ate yesterday. If I ate this a year ago off the back of like fruit, I don't know if you can see here. Maybe I'll just step back. Like there. Like there's nothing there. When I was eating fruit, if you look at any photos, I don't know if you can see there. There's nothing there. When I was eating fruits the whole time, this massive belly everywhere. The only time that didn't occur, the only time that didn't occur was when I was eating grapes only. And you can't live off only grapes. And then you start to think, oh, I only need grapes. I've got a problem. The more I sit in a space of owning where I'm at, the better I do. Like I really do. But yeah, but I'm not going to say that it's just the omega-3s. So yesterday, you know what I ate yesterday? I got up, I had matcha. No, I had cacao yesterday. I had juice, a little bit of juice, not these big liters of juice because that just makes me swell. I think maybe about almost a liter, maybe about 750 mils. Then for lunch, you can have a look. I had a massive salad. The dressing was a full avocado. 3 tablespoons of grinded flaxseed was in that meal as well, and a sprinkle of pistachios. I ate it all, including half a head of cauliflower. Now, I have no stomach, duodenum, or top of intestines. I could not do this a year ago. Then at the night time, I'm like, that's enough, Skye. You got to digest that. Plus, I had the digestive enzymes and probiotics from Lou Corona. At nighttime, I'm like, oh my God, I need some more food. So I ate about third of a head of purple cabbage, maybe half a head of purple cabbage, covered in another 4 tablespoons of flaxseed. Stomach is flat as a tack. I believe over time, it's taken me so long to get in because I crave cauliflower and I crave cabbage. I crave like dense foods. If I eat fruit, my teeth are so bad. They just burn and they start to grit. And I had tooth problems last year. So I literally crave those like crunchy, dense foods. But I don't think it's just the omega-3s. I truly believe when I put estrogen back into my body, it's like my body remembers where to store fat and the direction even of digestion. Like when my estrogen levels get low, I literally get GERD. It literally feels like my body doesn't know where to send signals. Things start coming up, fat starts coming under here, fat starts coming under my arms. But I can only take the hormone replacement because I eat a predominantly high omega-3 diet. And I take magnesium at night. I don't think this is the cure for everybody, but I think people need to find their balance. If you start to, this is what continually comes up for me. It's how I healed myself was I never rushed into it. I stayed in balance. As soon as I go too much into grapes or juice, I come out of balance. I get a ton of problems. I've brought myself back into balance. And that was with hormone replacement, high omega-3 diet, more veggies, a few other things that I've mentioned, but I don't want to say that these are the cure for everyone. And I know a lot of people ask me like what I do in a day, and I will write it all up because I have a little folder in my free community where I usually share what my routine, like everything from face creams, from everything. But I haven't updated it in a while because I hadn't found my balance again. But now after eating all that yesterday, and you saw how flat my stomach is, like that's impossible. Like that to me that's pretty up there with a miracle. So let me see. Okay, so let me bring this one up. That's so true. I got rid of my cravings, but fasting always brought them back. I had a big restaurant meal not too long ago after a 100-day juice fast. Yeah, it's almost uncontrollable. Even these cravings that came on for me, the addiction side of what is it called? That addiction side that comes up. It's almost like you lose control of your body. And that's where you have to say to yourself, and I think I did, is, I was put back on opioids for my broken toe. I was back at my parents' house. I think having a coffee was it didn't work out for me. I can't have them. It made me sick. That's the only cooked food I've technically have. But you can get very overwhelmed by things where you lose control, and how bad your addiction is. You could go all the way back to, severe addictions, like things like ice or, I don't want to talk about too many dark drugs here, but like how far can it go back? And I just believe there's so much to staying in balance that can really, really help. And as I said, I remember getting myself well and coming, and I say this often, coming into the community, because when I directed what was how I healed myself, I couldn't really read or write it or remember education. It was, oh, that made me feel good. And it made me feel love in myself for the first time. Not that the food was love, but that the action was making me understand that now there's no pain. So that is self-love. That awareness of self-love came through. And then all these people like, you got to push through, you got to, I'm like, push through. Aren't we all like, isn't the point of this to love ourselves? And it's actually harder. So if I actually think of going on these cleanses, anytime I've done that, you can actually go into almost like this euphoria, and that is an addiction in itself. It keeps you wanting to go and stay on it. The memory of feeling so good on it keeps you going back. But if you have to work every day at a level which no one else is at, there's not a whole team of people around you, they're all doing watermelon or whatever they're all doing. You have to, like, it's like me, I'm coming on here and I'm sharing this, not because I want you to do it, but because I want you to see the value in honoring what it is you've learned on your journey and how to apply that at your level. And the only reward for this is not feeling amazing from the fruits. It's not feeling amazing detox. It's that you'll start to feel self-love which no one could feel if they did the exact same thing as you. So if you all did, so I healed on a lot of like veggies and avocados and outdoors. And, if I got everyone to do that, it wouldn't have the same effect. My soul had to undertake that. So the hard part is admitting that no one out there in the community can be your journey. Only you can be your journey. And that's, you'll hear me say, even as a coach, is I coach, I've never seen in the community, I've never seen two people have their breakthroughs in the same way. So why would I apply the same coaching principles to each person? And the person has to confront where they're at. And that can be hard when you think the answer is, or you believe you want to be on a beach eating fruit, but at the moment you're having fruit, 2 salads, and a salad and a cooked meal. But when you realize, this is how I realized it. I looked at myself as a child at older Skye, and I talk to my younger self a lot because she's so precious. But I look up and I say, if little baby Skye saw big Skye after all she went through, eating what I have now, chocolate donuts that are made homemade from sweet potato and some dates and some carob. And she's on here and she's sharing it with people, and she has a salad at night. And even when everyone else drinks, it's bringing tears to my eyes because I'm proud of me. And that's the only way that you can do this. And a good way to do it is to think of what your little self would say if you came through everything and then did what you do every day. And everyone is doing different things, like their mums and their grandmas, and they're making food for family and they're helping out other people. But hopefully in doing that, you're also nourishing yourself and looking after yourself. So basically I'm preaching here that to own where you're at and do this for yourself. So, I love that. It's so freeing because I think like all the people you see come on my channel bring something different because of their experience, and there's so much value in that. Don't be like everyone else. Do your dressing your way. Do eat fruit for dinner and salad for breakfast if that's what your body needs. That's the hard part because we all want to conform. But you'll notice the people who get up and preach about their healing journey have usually done something unique to themselves. And that's the hard part. So, here, my last 16-day water fast threw me off balance. Once I broke it, I just increasingly started to eat nonstop. Prior to that, I had no issue. That at a very small level happened to me, as I said, when I would do these mono fruit fasts. And when I talk to people who have done water fasts, I actually, well, probably besides people who run them, or maybe even they do, I do not know somebody who hasn't gone back to cooked food. Cooked food, I don't know how far you've gone back, but cooked food to the extent that they'll eat like Kentucky, do you call it Kentucky fried chicken, buckets of fried chicken and chips. Like, I mean, literally old ways of eating. Now, people are like, oh, that's all detox. It's all just like stirred up too much. But what if it's just a survival mechanism of addiction that's kicked in? Like, you've actually got to a point where your body is feeling unsafe and unloved, and you haven't given it what it wants. A huge part of overcoming addiction and believing in yourself is listening to the cues your body gives. And so you've got a whole heap of people who are getting hunger cues and they're just juicing through it for months, including myself, unless you're extremely sick. Okay. Or people want to find love and they're like, no, I don't want to feel that. I'm going to go have only water. Now, I'm not saying that's true for everybody, because I do believe there are circumstances where doing this can help. But when it becomes your life, are you in self-love and finding a way to reconnect so your body feels safe so we can let go of addictions and be its real self? Or are you just creating more addictions? Because to me, it just created more addictions. And all the people who have been raw vegan long-term who have got caught up in this say it's just a new addiction. I don't think it starts out that way. I do think we feel something different, but there's a safety mechanism in humans to create an addiction over actually living in the moment. So I think that's something to think about. I think there's more, it takes more guts and power and self-love to actually say no to all the quick remedies. When it comes to, I will tell you something about water fasting. I haven't water fasted, but when I had my stomach removed, I
didn't eat. There was 4 surgeries. 3 of them cut me all the way down. But during that time, I didn't eat. They gave me fluids and pain medication. Now, I went through a hell of a lot, what you would call pain-wise, but also I know I went through a lot of detox. They couldn't give me a feeding tube either because then I would have to go to a cardiac wing and I was too unstable because of the way feeding tubes are put in. So it was basically liquids and wasn't even drinking them. And I will say because I already had pain issues before this happened, all my problems went away for 10 months. But after 10 months, they came back probably even worse. But in my mind, it was great. Everything is brighter. Everything's more amazing. But the thing I think back to that period of time is I never dealt with my problems. Now, you could be a superhero and be able to every 10 months do water fasting, but I'm sitting in a space where I just want my body to tell me what it needs and I give it to it. And it doesn't have to send addiction patterns or mixed messages. Like I want to know me. I want to come to this earth and know me. So, yes. Now, I'm not saying I don't like to sit in a space of like people are doing anything wrong because everything is a journey. You're always meant to take the way you are. And if I look at Raw Christina. I see someone who has found stability and I see she'll do a quick 3-day juice fast and she's back on her normal diet. The problem is if you have a regular diet and then you go and do watermelon for a week, I think that's very different than thinking watermelon will fix your problems, coming off it and still being confused as to what to eat. Because when you get on it thinking it'll fix your problems and it doesn't, it actually makes it all either worse or your body's more disconnected from itself. And so it latches on to other things and you feel more lost. So now you got to do water fasting and that doesn't work. You got to push longer. And before you know it, you're quite unwell. So there's a lot of value in going, right, today I just feel like noodles. So I'm going to make myself the best, even though you've decided to do all fruits, but your body just keeps wanting noodles. Or like that was what my one was. The whole time I did fruit, got high up on fruits, I craved veggies. Now people go, you weren't having enough calories. Well, I don't think there's much calories in veggies. Now I eat veggies. I do have fruit, but my predominant thing that makes me feel good and grounded and just normal is veggies. When I get fruit, I just swell. I think I have like the SIFO, small intestinal fungal overgrowth. I don't think it's bacterial. I think for me, I get like candida. Plus not having a stomach. You give someone with no stomach salt, which is NaCl, and I don't have a lot of HCl, you're going to digest better. Give someone a whole lot of sugary fruit that can't digest, it just ferments very quickly. I like a lot of neutral veggies. I can't still do a lot of carrot. Most of it is the things that Brooke Goldner talks about, like the cabbages, cauliflower. I crave them. So there's definitely some value in that. But I still, as you know, I don't believe unless you're extremely sick and you need a bit of direction that forever. And I don't think she does either. I think you go on to a level with her where you just got to get in the omega-3s, which I think I'm doing. But not because she said it, because it works. Yeah, okay. So I think we've covered that. Like, I feel like this is going to be like a massive topic because I feel like it's the mask of why we don't get where we want to go. And we can jot around with like gut health and hormone health, and getting that in balance is really important. But you really are only out of balance because you're not actually listening to yourself in the first place. And I believe that is when addictions do come up. So, yeah. You'll be preparing salads. Okay, we like that. Now, I'm going to put a new banner up. So there's a couple of steps to what's going on today because I don't know, there is. I'm going to make curried frittatas from leftover veggies in the fridge, but we're also going to ice our donuts. Where are we? I've lost oh, here we go. Here we go. I've got it in the wrong section. So we're going to do making chocolate donuts. I got the right banner up. Let me see if I can get this on and not in my hair. That's what bra straps are for microphones, right? Okay, this is a quite simple stage. If you want to go back to yesterday and have a look how we made the donuts, you can do that. These are 4 ingredients. I'm going to try and get a reel out. I talk about the ingredients in these donuts. Look at the donuts. They're so good. There's sweet potato dates. I use carob. You can use cacao and sweet potato dates and chia. There's not much. They're very low fat. But to that, I made some icing. So you put them in the dehydrator. There's a bit of a process to it because you put the chia seeds in the end. Then you put them in the dehydrator for how long? 8 hours, 8 to 9 hours. Then you turn them and they go in a little. Oh, where's the mold? The mold's in the wash. It's a mold like this from Kmart. In Australia, Kmart. I don't know if America still has Kmart. So it's a mold, but it's a donut mold. This is going to be for our frittatas today. And then you flip them and they're ready. They're so good. These actually may be my favorite recipe of all time. They're so, oh my God, they're amazing. But we're going to ice these today because I made some icing yesterday, but these had to go into the, how are we going here? The dehydrator. Is this, no, that's not better. We had better light here. There we go. We'll just put that there. Okay. I'm going to get the icing. Actually, if you leave the icing we made, which is just cashews, dates, and carob or cacao, oh, it's out. If we leave that in the fridge, it thickens up and it's going to be easier to ice. So I actually made the batch I made yesterday. I probably made double. So you can probably half that, but we'll see. You can have really coated type donuts here. So I'll move this to the side. Just might actually get a plate and then you can see what I'm doing. Here. Oh, also I saw Stacy was on there. I didn't say hello. I saw Stacy wrote a comment. She was there as well. Okay, so we just get this. I did ice some yesterday as well, but I thought I would ice these again for you today. I filled up the hole there. You don't have to. I did it a little better yesterday. There we go. They're more like cupcakes. Let me do one properly. So you just get a little bit like that, and then I just turned it like that. Oop, nearly dropped it. Just like that. These are like, they're insane. Like I don't know whether I made a recipe this good and this simple. It's just a couple of ingredients. Let me get my juice I've got going on in here. Juice I made earlier. Yeah, so that's the donuts. I'll do one more and then I get, as you guys know, I get any veggies I have left over because it's Friday here. I go to the farmer's market tomorrow and we use leftover veggies and we make, or whatever I've got left over, usually it's veggies, we make something with it. So we're doing like, we're going to do like curried frittatas today. So Koala Mama food preps too. I love that. I love that. What are you guys making? Koala Mama, what are you making? So we've got one. I'll do one more and then I'll do the rest after because we can get to the next stage of this video. There. They are so good. I want to eat it now, but I will not. I will save it. If you want to actually have a look, let me see if I can pull the video of me eating it for you guys because there is a video I posted on my story because it was so good. Let me see if I can pull that up. Yep, here it is. There we go. Add it. Video. I don't think it came up. There we go. We are over here trying my 4-ingredient donuts and it's 3-ingredient icing. Oh my God, they're so good. No words for these. They're really moist as well. I don't know whether you can see there. So let me just cut one so you guys can see because I did have someone else they wanted to see inside. So let me just, otherwise I feel like Though I usually have like 2 or 3. They're so good. Oh my God. Oh my God. They're really moist. I don't know if you can see. They're not like dense and dry. Just had a salad in jicama wraps. Oh, yum, that sounds good. My famous Montreal steak spice, homemade, low-fat, raw vegan coleslaw. Holy moly, that does sound good. I need to make something like that. I've actually got a lot of like those type of spices. I should try something like that. But that's the donuts, guys. Oh, I'm just getting icing everywhere. I do believe I made probably like double the amount of icing, maybe triple. So if you go back over these recipes, you'll have a lot of icing, but you can actually make the whole batch and you can dip fruit into it if that's something. Freeze it, use it another time. All right, so we will move these chocolate donuts out of the way. I'll ice them off camera and we can get stuck into the next stage, which is the curried frittatas. So as you can see, there's a lot there. But whatever I don't use, I will not sit around and eat. I will freeze. That's healthy. It's cashews. I don't actually I know people that might be funny about cashews. You can use macadamias. They're the only 2 nuts I'd probably recommend using, unless there's a seed that you choose to use. But it can get seeds. A lot of the seeds can get a little bitter. So we'll put that to the side. And the banner will change now. Curried frittatas. This is where we're up to now. Oh, there you go. Tess is from Montreal. Is there like a secret to the Montreal spice? Is that? Okay, first off, before I start, there is like, see, we've got these veggies over here. I'll bring them over here. There's like, this is like all my leftovers for the week. Like this week is, I must have just, I don't know, partly used. There's some oyster mushrooms that are coming out of the bag. There's a corn. I don't know what that's going to end up like. There's bits of carrot. There's bits of zucchini. There's actually a couple of zucchinis that look a bit how you're going. So we're going to peel the yucky bit off the outside. This is why I usually dehydrate veggies by the end of the week because they're not traveling so good. I don't know whether I'll put Brussels sprouts in there. There's a bit of bell pepper, some more carrot. And I'm just going to, I feel like I'm about to sneeze actually, but I'm going to chop some of these up. I might put these straight in as well. So I have my food processor over here. I will show you once it's all in. You can have a look what I do. Plug that in. All right. So we will, I can't bring the top of this off because it never gets back on. So we'll do first off the carrot and zucchini because we've got a few of those. So yeah, I don't know what I was doing this week. There's literally like little bits of veggies everywhere this week. See, I feel like there's my trauma in butchered vegetables. My body was really hanging on this week before it had a bit of a cry last night. You can see it in my vegetables, my bits of vegetables here. So we'll just take the ends off these. So also what I want to say with this is you can put anything you want in here. It just has to be veggies. Obviously, like the more sweet or plain vegetables are not going to be as bitter. So when you start getting into broccolis and Brussels sprouts, you may find it ends up bitter. So I would use sweeter or neutral veggies like zucchinis and sweet corn. And I'm trying to find here my measuring cup for you guys so you can get a general idea of how much I'm using. Right where it should be. Okay. So, all right, this looks like it's going to be about a cup, a very full cup, kind of carrot. If you cut this carrot up really fine, it's probably maybe 2 cups of carrot. This probably will make a lot. I always find when I do, this would be 2 cups of carrot. Always find when I do any of these, it ends up like a large batch, which we're batch making here just because there's usually quite a few veggies left over, just like bits of veggies. Now I'm peeling these just because they look a bit dodgy and cutting some off. The skin's looking a bit, how are you going? But usually I would just throw these in. So we've got here probably about a cup of zucchini. I saw something up here. You can look up how to make your own homemade Montreal steak spice. That's what I did, but I also added mustard. Interesting. I actually had fun. I don't know if anyone's done this, and I think it's really hard for me to link a lot of things to my Amazon storefront because I get a lot of things through Australian Amazon, and then I try and put them on my Amazon storefront, which is only American, and I can't access them. But I think I put a couple up there. I had really fun one day. I found it really fun. And these are things you should do as a raw vegan. You've got to find the fun in it. I went on Amazon and just ordered a whole lot of spice. I ordered, I think I've told you guys about this. I've ordered harissa spice, Chinese 5 spice, Cajun spice, Ethiopian Berber, a whole lot of spice, which I had lots of fun with. Plus, I recently just saw Lissa has this big spice rack at her place. I was like, can you send me a photo? I want to try them all. And I think it's really important. This is just like a random bit I found in my fridge to have fun. So that was fun for me. I just went on Amazon and just was like, oh, sumac. I love sumac. Just added all to my cart. They were only like $2 each, I think, which was fun for me. So we'll do some leek. Leek is a lot milder than onion, but I've got some onion here too. That's a lot of onion. I don't know. Well, maybe not use all that. I might put some of this today in my salad. Just do a little bit of onion. Onion does smell and taste really good once it's been in the dehydrator. We'll just do a little bit of onion, a little bit of leek. Now, I have corn here. There's not much. I do love, I've said this before, if you put corn and zucchini together and blend them, you get like an eggy texture. I mean, you add chia or flax to that and you really get an eggy texture. But as you know, I'm trying to do more omega-3 seeds. So I will predominantly make, if I can, everything I can from those seeds. And then when I want something extra, it's only a little bit. That's my rule at the moment. So let's go back to banners. What are we making here? Making frittatas. Okay. Now, I find, I've said this before, when you guys probably do this as well, but if you don't know how to do this, when you do corn, get a massive bowl and take the corn off in that because it flings. Otherwise, I swear to gosh, I do it on it's still popping out. It just flings. I wonder if someone ever made a corn. I think I have seen a really cool corn cutter. I never buy all those tools because I feel like my kitchen just fills up with too much stuff. I like to be simple. And people are like, no, real veganism isn't simple. I try to keep it simple. So okay, we're not getting much corn off this, but that's still some. So I would say, well, we don't know, do we? I say, but I don't know. Like half a cup. That's about half a cup of corn. That here. Okay, there we go. Got that. I've got a lot of mushrooms here. I might put some of that in. Now I've lost my, there we go. Chopping board. Put a couple of, or maybe just one. I do like it more veggie than mushroomy. You get like a meaty texture from mushrooms. I don't want it too meaty. I don't want meat. That's a whole nother episode there. So I'll show you how it looks. That was just one oyster mushroom. And I've got a bit of bell pepper here. Obviously looking a bit how you're going. Also, I know I always know when I'm about to get sick or probably deal with some trauma because I get little ADHD piles around the house. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed this. So if someone has ADHD, which to me, the symptoms of PTSD and ADHD are pretty much on par, is in the middle of doing something, because you're seeking dopamine, you can't sit in a space without it. And I believe you're blocking memories. I believe you just can't face things and you do this, but that's my opinion. And you're in the middle of folding washing and you go to put something away and you see that the bathroom needs cleaning. So you start cleaning the bathroom and then you open a cupboard and there'll be, I don't know, old makeup remover that you need to clean the bottle out. And then you go to the kitchen and you'll turn around and you'll find little piles all over the house. And I call them ADHD piles. But whenever that's happening, like these massacred vegetables, to me, it's like so that I don't process something. It keeps my brain and body keep me going. But yeah, we need to sit in a space of fear of processing them. I also believe not forcing things either. So when the body's ready, it will bring it up. But we should support the body the best way we can with food and exercise. And it's been actually really hard to exercise this past week. I have done it. I cut back a little bit, but I still turned up for myself. Okay, so that's the veggie part of these that's done. I was going to put some garlic in too, but I can move this across so you can see the spices go in and any extra flavors I add in. I also noticed by adding in different spices and flavors at the start, when I had come off doing like only basically kind of fruits and vegetables for a couple of years, mostly fruits, I couldn't tolerate anything. And the world is not only more pleasurable, but it's not so hard to be in the world when you can tolerate some nama shoyu and a bit of spice. So that's something to think about too. But it took me a while to get everything back in. So we're not going to use those. What have we got here? Oh, I was going to add some turmeric as well, because this is going to be, I love turmeric, anti-inflammatory properties. I've got some here. So I'll just put a little bit in because we're doing curry. This is going to be like a curried vegetable frittata thing. So we'll put, I mean, that's all right. Put a piece in there. Now, for the fun part, what have I got here? Oh, I've got onion powder there. There's enough onion powder in there, right? Oh, I've got garlic powder, but I always prefer to use fresh. So we'll just put I might just put 1 clove in here and a little bit of, so 1 clove. That was a big clove. And then I'll get a teaspoon so we can measure how much spice I actually put in. I always like to base it on, like, in here, I reckon there's about 6 cups of veggies. So, and usually I base recipes around about 4 cups of veggies. But when Friday comes, I always have extra stuff. So it gets like a bigger batch. Oh, I just broke that. Probably a good thing. All right, I might put garlic here. I feel like a teaspoon of garlic powder. This one's frozen up a bit. That was about half. So we're going to do a teaspoon, another half there. Come on. Let me down here. Oh, crap. That's too much. There we go. So that's a teaspoon of garlic. It's going to be really garlicky, but... And then I wanted about a teaspoon of garam masala. And I'm going to do a teaspoon of curry powder, but it may end up more. I never know. Depends how much flavor. Oh, it smells really nice. I was craving curry this week, so I thought it's what my body needs. Ooh, I don't want all that. It's just like a generous teaspoon. I was also thinking this may need, that's too much. I'm not actually going to put any more turmeric in it. I have turmeric out here, but that's just going to be too much. So we've got those spices that are in there, and I may add more. We're going to wait till we blend.
Now I want to do, I don't know whether this is going to need an acid. Usually I'll put in a, yeah, apple cider vinegar or some lemon, but I think it'll be all right. I've just got some namashoyu here, the salty aspect. I think I'll just put a tablespoon in for now. You can always adjust. There we go. We don't want it too salty or sweety. All right, let's blend this baby up. And then we'll put the chia seed or flax seed in. I haven't decided. I think I've got chia there. Hang on a second here. I can only drive this from the front. Every time I try and be aesthetically pleasing and put this on from the back. So, never works. I have to face it. Just like my trauma, right? You have to face it. Okay, so you can see that there. Face it forward. There we go. Okay, now my spatula's actually got icing on it at the moment, I think, so we'll just use a spoon. I can still see some carrot needs to be done. I love textures, and this creates a great texture. Oh my God, it smells so good. Oh, what did I do? Oh, it slips out. Oh, what did I do? Maybe I'm not supposed to rock it. Okay, sometimes when that happens, I have to just pull it out and plug it back in. Okay, there we go. Let's taste this bad boy. I don't know why I called it a bad boy. Inventing words here. Okay. Okay, I think that needs more of everything. I'm going to put double in maybe because there's so much in here. Actually, maybe not everything. It just needs more of the soy. I'm going to do 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. It's probably just, yeah, because there's so much vegetables. And then we're going to do more of the curry. And, oh, I was going to do some paprika as well. Do about half a tablespoon. Well, no, do a tablespoon of that. Okay. Let me see how that goes. So, guys, try it. Whenever you make something, try it. You could probably do with another clove of garlic, but we'll leave that. I think we want to predominantly have that curry flavor going on there. Ooh. Okay. Well, this is looking good. This is looking good. Oh my God. That's amazing. Yes, yes, yes. So that's about 2 teaspoons of the curry, and it ended up being 3 of the namashoyu. And that is really good. I actually want to put a bit of spice in this. Oh my gosh, that's really good. And it doesn't need a sweet element at all. I've got a little bit of fresh chili here. So I'm going to put, oh, I don't know how good these are. It'll be good enough for this recipe, I say. Okay, so we're putting the chili in. And I'll just blitz that through, and then we'll put the chia in. All right. That looks good. Okay, so I've got white chia seeds because if you put black in, it's not a big deal, but it will go darker. So we'll do 1. You could do just 2. I'm going to do 3. But if you want to keep it lower fat, not that that's heaps of fat, it's not going to be a problem if you do 2. I'm also having a calling to put some pumpkin seeds in here, but if you want to keep it low fat, you don't have to do that. You see, I'll put them in here so we know how much we get in. Well, I've only got, I'd say about 1/4 of a cup. So that's what's going in. Just for a nuttier taste. Okay, we want them chunky. That's what I'm thinking today. Okay, this looks really good. Now we can pull this off and put them into the container. Oh, don't fall off there. My God, yesterday I had so much going on in my life. There was literally stuff everywhere. There was no spaces left for food, actually. All right, here we go. Can you guys see that there? Is there a... And this will continue to thicken because of the way the chia seeds are. So they're like veggie, eggy. I said eggy, but I think they're just veggie. Here we go. There we go. I've actually got 2 of these, but maybe we only need 1. And if you don't want to eat these straight away, these will be freezable. I probably should have tried it a little bit. Hang on. This is good. Oh, that spice is good too. There we go. As I said, this was just from Kmart in Australia a year ago or something. But any like muffin tray is definitely going to work. Actually, this is probably just going to fill this tray. So I did it perfectly. See, I said this yesterday. My body knows the mold size before I start making things. It just knows. Yeah. Oh, there might be like 1 extra on the other tray. Oh, maybe not. Yes, there will be. So we want to like not overfill these because that will just stick to it and won't get eaten. There. Easy. I'll just fill the other tray. So that's today's live, guys. It has been so lovely. This week has been lovely. There's lots of lives up there. I'll be back next week. I actually am interviewing next week Olivia Herzog. You probably know her. She was raw. She did the most amazing wraps. If anyone's ever tried her wraps, they're like amazing. But she's a mum now. She eats high raw now, and I wanted to talk to her. She's pregnant again, so she's coming on the channel. We have my lives. I'm not sure what else I have to look. Oh, there's exciting news. Next week, I don't know if anyone's here at the moment. There'll be a European party. I don't know what time that will be in the US, but I think late. That's why. So I did last week or this week, we had the like US, Australia, Asia party, which was live. And this week we're doing Europe, Australia, and Asia. So there's a whole new party, and the theme will be, and that's Tuesday night. So it'll be like Tuesday morning for the US, but I think really early in the morning. But you guys can watch the replay. So that will be fun. All right. That's it.
that will go into the dehydrator. For time-wise, I don't know how long that will be. What I do usually do is post on my story, or I usually come back and post it underneath the video on YouTube once it's done. So I will have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys. You're very welcome. Bye.